Alright guys, so the first reviews are out for the Fantastic Four First Steps, and I'm happy to say that this film has been certified fresh. It's getting good reviews, so let's go ahead and talk about, a couple of the sources that have released the reviews for this movie, and then we'll discuss what this means for the MCU going forward, especially for Fantastic Four movies. So first things first, Rotten Tomatoes, of course, very infamous site, right, when it comes to movie reviews. Personally, I love Rotten Tomatoes. I love getting to see that score for the audience and for the critics side, and getting to see the amount of people that contributed to each one of those sides. For instance, and I'll pull it up for you guys on the screen right now, the Fantastic Four First Steps debuted on Rotten Tomatoes with a 88%, with 42 critics contributing to that rating. So a very solid rating that is definitely certified fresh, that is definitely on the higher side here. So I'm very happy to see that as someone that's looking forward to go out and see this movie. But that is just what it debuted at on the site. There is a lot more people that's contributed to this review up to the point that I'm making this video. So I'll read you the updated review for this movie. It's currently at 86% now, which I'll also have that up on the screen for you guys, with 114 critics now contributing to this review score. So still a very solid number here, 86%. I'm sure we'll see it, fluctuate a bit more before we can go watch it in theaters come this Friday. But all in all, I'm very happy with these numbers. Now let's go ahead and talk about the IGN score, because they also put out the review for the Fantastic Four First Steps. They ended up giving this movie a 7 out of 10. So a 7 is good on their scale. Not too far off from what we're seeing with the Rotten Tomatoes score, though it definitely dropped a score and a half there. And let's just go ahead and read their summary for their review. I have it pulled up right here. They said the Fantastic Four First Steps is a family dramedy that only stops working when it tries to be too much of a superhero movie. Now what that means, I'm not exactly sure what they mean by that. What do you mean a superhero movie stops working when it's trying to be too much of a superhero movie? That in itself makes zero sense whatsoever, so not sure what they were trying to get at there. I guess we'll see once we go and see this movie in theaters. But it also says here, Matt Shakman directs a film that's for sure interesting to look at, even if it doesn't quite rise to the scale of its planet-eating antagonist, a force of cosmic nature that doubles as a metaphor for parenting. So okay, we have some slight more information there about what we're going to be seeing in this film and kind of the metaphor that they're going to be using Galactus with inside of this movie. And like I said, the basic summary for the IGN review, it doesn't make any sense if we're being quite honest, but the 7 out of 10 is a good score, so I'm happy with that. And overall, I'm extremely excited to go see this movie in theaters. Make sure you hit subscribe so you don't miss my movie review once this movie releases. We'll be releasing the movie review on the channel for you guys, an in-depth review for this film, so you could look forward to that. And now I want to move over and talk about something that I find very interesting with these Fantastic Four movies, because up to this point, this is now the 4th Fantastic Four movie, with the original one releasing in 2005. I'm sure a lot of you, grew up with that movie. I definitely did. And so I'm going to put another image up on the screen for you guys. Let's go ahead and take a look at these numbers, these ratings on the Rotten Tomatoes site in terms of like freshness for all 4 of the Fantastic Four movies, because as you can see in this image, this is the very first Fantastic Four movie to be considered fresh, to be considered an actual good movie ratings wise, which I find fascinating, quite honestly. With the 2005 movie sitting at a 27%, terrible, right? The second movie in 2007, Rise of the Silver Surfer, sitting at a 37%. And then the 2015 remake, right, with Michael B. Jordan sitting at a 9%, the lowest of them all, which is insane. And then we have the Fantastic Four First Steps, which just released this year, or hasn't even released this year. It releases in a couple days by the time, this video should be releasing. It's sitting at an 87%. So it took 4 Fantastic Four movies for us to get finally a good Fantastic Four movie. Kind of ironic, but I'm glad we're finally getting, a proper representation of these characters, and I hope it's as good as these reviews are saying. I'm going to be completely honest, once my review released on the channel, I'm not going to take these scores into effect. I'm going to walk into the theater with a blank slate for you guys. All right, I'm going to watch the film, I'll write my notes about it, I'll come home, do the review for you guys, release it for you guys. You'll get a 100% honest opinion, so don't think these reviews are going to skew me too much here, because they're definitely not. But I just wanted to talk about it because I found them interesting. Now that we've talked about the reviews that are coming out for this film, what does this mean for the MCU going forward? Well, first things first, it means we're going to be getting more Fantastic Four movies inside the MCU, without a doubt. And it also means that we're finally beginning to build up to Avengers Doomsday, because this is the first film in the MCU MCU that's going to properly lead us up to that movie, which, by the way, Kevin Feige, the producer at Marvel, has stated that you do not need to see any previous Marvel films or any series, TV shows, anything like that before you go in to see this movie. It's related to no films that has came before it, so that's good news right there. Although I do want to say that, of course, the Thunderbolts post-credit scene did have the Fantastic Four arriving into their Earth, into their atmosphere, into their universe. So there is a slight connection there with the Thunderbolts movie, or as they like to call it, the New Avengers, and now the Fantastic Four, both being the movies that lead up to Avengers Doomsday about, what, a year and a half from now. Now, before Doomsday does release in theaters, I believe, don't quote me on this 100%, but I do believe we're supposed to be getting a brand new Spider-Man film, Spider-Man 4, inside the MCU, where Tom Holland isn't going to be remembered by anybody. You know, he's going to be starting with a blank slate, and we're kind of going to be getting like the classic Sam Raimi type Spider-Man story moving forward for the MCU. And apparently, from word that's came out from the studios, Spider-Man 4 is going to be taking place during the events of Avengers Doomsday, so I don't think we can expect to see Spider-Man inside of that film, though of course you never really know what happens in the future, right? But overall, that's everything that I wanted to touch on and talk about inside this video, so I hope you guys enjoyed this, you know, little discussion video about the reviews that released. I couldn't be more excited for the release of the Fantastic Four First Steps and for Avengers Doomsday come 2026, and I would love to know your guys' thoughts on these reviews that released down in the comment section down below. What do you personally think is going to be the performance of Fantastic Four First Steps once this releases in theaters, and are you going to be seeing it day one in theaters like me? Because I already got my tickets, I've had them in advance for weeks now. I'm gonna be there in theaters day one to watch this movie and drop a review for you guys, so you can expect that on the channel. If you don't know what we do here on Demigod AT, we do film, TV, and anime based content, so if you're interested in any of this type of content, you're in the right place. Hit subscribe, hit the like button if you enjoyed this video. I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Peace.